Today I have my 5 takeaway series, and we're kind of in off-season mode, but I'm going to cover the Super Bowl. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Let's go. So the first takeaway is that Jalen Hurts won the Eagles the Super Bowl. Yes, obviously that is what occurred, but the outcome of the game was never in doubt. The Eagles won 40-22, and they were up 34-0, and then 40-6 with 8 minutes left. It was not a competitive game. Hurts went 17 of 22 for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and 11 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown. He was really the only Eagles offensive player that had a special game. He averaged 10 yards per attempt with only 2 sacks. He was the engine that carried them to a victory, not the other way around. And I think we've seen now, after many years, we can trust Hurts. He's obviously a franchise quarterback, a top quarterback, near elite fantasy quarterback. No, he's not Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. Those guys are still a step above him in fantasy, but he's in the next group down. Now, beyond Hurts, Saquon Barkley had 25 carries, 57 yards, and 6 catches for 40 yards. He played 81% of snaps, despite the Eagles benching starters near the end of the game. He was used a lot, wasn't particularly effective, but I'm not concerned. We're going to see, I think, a little bit of workload management for Barkley in 2025, especially compared to this game. Don't expect 31 touches a game. But, of course, I have no concerns for Barkley for next year only. Now, what am I doing from this? It's always the same story. Selling A.J. Brown. Yes, the Eagles delivered some big plays. Yes, A.J. Brown had that play called back due to the penalty. Devonta Smith got the long touchdown. Brown, 3 catches, 43 yards, a touchdown on 5 targets. But I'm warning people again and again. This game was against the Chiefs. They're a tough defense. What's going to happen when the Eagles face weak teams next year? They don't and won't pass the ball enough for Brown to get great volume, let alone elite volume. The offense runs through Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts more than it does the receiving options. Hurts can be an efficient passer at times. Yes, the volume's not there. It's not ever going to be there. I'm telling you, it's not going to be there. You're not getting, what you got at times in the past with A.J. Brown. So I did see this one in Superflex. You could get 2 firsts for A.J. Brown. I'd probably have to do that if I were looking to move into a kind of rebuilding window. And then I like this one. Mike Gesicki in the 26th third don't mean much, but you get Devonta Smith in the 26th first. Devonta Smith has not been that much of a downgrade from A.J. Brown. He's a downgrade, but I'd rather have the first with Smith than A.J. Brown. Smith is a little bit younger, not that much younger. Regardless, congratulations to the Eagles. But again, I've been saying to sell A.J. Brown the whole time. Nothing has changed, for my opinion on that. Number 2, the Chiefs paid the price for their incomplete offense. The offense is incomplete. The offensive line was a disaster, total disaster. That needs to be revamped. I mean, I felt like Patrick Mahomes was under pressure on every snap. He went 21 of 32 for 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions with 6 sacks and a lost fumble. Relentlessly pressured. The 2 interceptions were really bad. It might have been the worst game I've ever seen Patrick Mahomes play. And the long garbage time to Xavier Worthy touchdown is the only reason the stat line looks even decent. Don't be fooled by the stat line. Patrick Mahomes was abysmal in this game. But he wasn't the only problem. Isaiah Pacheco, 3 carries for 7 yards and 1 catch for 5 yards. Played more snaps than Kareem Hunt, who was scripted out of the losing game script, but Samaje Perine played almost the same snap share as Pacheco. Kareem Hunt faded away. Sorry about that. StreamYard's really got to get its shit together. I'm not going to lie. It's been bad for what they're charging. It's been bad. Might have to look for a different streaming video recording platform. With that being said, Hunt faded away for 3 carries for 9 yards, catch for 5 yards. Yeah, the Chiefs were exposed for their lack of a running game, and they will be adding a running back in 2025. And if you're telling me that Isaiah Pacheco or Kareem Hunt is going to be the 2025 starter at running back, you haven't been watching. You haven't been watching the playoffs, how bad it's been, not paying attention. Speaking of problems, none of the Chiefs receivers other than Xavier Worthy or Travis Kelce had more than 2 catches or 18 yards. DeAndre Hopkins looked completely washed up, finished, done. Hollywood Brown kind of faded away. Juju Smith-Schuster, The Chiefs obviously needed Rashee Rice to get the passing offense over the hump. I mean, can you imagine the offense if they'd actually had Rice with Worthy? I think it would actually be pretty good. Now, speaking of that, I'd actually kind of like to buy Patrick Mahomes at a discount in Superflex. It's missing three things, the Chiefs offense. Rice, that's the biggest thing they were missing. They had him. He was hurt. That's hurt the passing offense all year. Offensive line help. They're going to fix that. And then a real running back. They never were able to run the ball. So we're going to see what happens. Mahomes isn't even 30, so he's not old for a quarterback. And there are some deals that I found. You could get Mahomes in the throw-in of Daniel Jones for Matthew Stafford, 201 and 202. And then Mahomes for Isaiah Likely, Kenneth Walker, and a 26 first. In Superflex, this is a steal. So I would look into the Patrick Mahomes market. Rare, I don't think I've ever said that. But this might be a time, the one time that I'm interested in buying Patrick Mahomes at Dynasty Superflex. Next up, Deebo Samuel. We saw this announced, will be traded. And this is similar to the Cooper Kupp situation. The 49ers gave Samuel permission to seek a trade. Samuel announced his departure from the 49ers on social media. He's gone. Now, the 49ers would lose $15 million in 2025 cap space by trading Samuel. So you might ask then, why would they do it? So a lot of people don't understand how cap space works. They say a lot of things. They're not true. First of all, cap space accumulates and rolls over year to year. So yes, what this cap space in this year matters, but what matters more is the total cap space. So even though they lose space in 2025, they save $15 million in overall cap space versus keeping him. So they're saving $15 million overall by keeping him, by trading him versus keeping him. The alternative is a post-June 1 cut. They could do that. That would split the cap hits over 2 years. It would be the same overall hit as trading him. But they have to act on this before March 22nd, when a $15 million option bonus becomes due. That's the difference between keeping him and not keeping him. And they're not going to keep him and pay that $15 million. I'm telling you this right now. So they're not keeping him. So since they're not keeping him, let's see where it went wrong. 51 catches, 607 yards, 81 targets, 3.4 catches, and 44.7 yards a game, and 42 carries, 136 yards, touchdown, 3.2 yards carry. Career low in receiving production. For the first time, was completely ineffective on the ground. Was behind Jawan Jennings and George Kittle in the target pecking order. Brandon Ayuk even was more productive when healthy, even though he didn't look so good. And Ricky Pearsall started to overtake him near the end of the year. That's not even factoring in CMC as a receiver when he played. And he'll be back. So there's just no room for Samuel on the 2025 49ers. They're not paying him $15 million to use him as buried on the depth chart. That's not going to happen. So what do? I'm not going to speculate on where Samuel's going to go. I think there are many teams that could be interested at a low price. He looked washed up to me. And he's 29 years old, played with a punishing style. I'm not interested in Deebo Samuel. Zero interest as a dynasty asset moving forward. So for me, I'm waiting for the trade hype and then moving on at the earliest opportunity. But I'm certainly not buying. I'm only selling, but waiting until he's traded to do so. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you should sign up for the Patreon. Right now, I'm offering a 50% discount at all tiers using the code TylerYT. You get my rankings, including the rookie ranks, access to the Discord, all of the write-ups I've been doing this offseason, and the ability to ask in advance questions for the YouTube videos. Tiers begin at just $6 a month, $3 with the discount, which, is probably going to be around for about another month, and include all of that plus options for direct message fantasy advice at the higher levels. If you want to know more about the Patreon, check out my Why You Should Join the Patreon videos on the channel. They detail everything that I'm offering. And as usual, like I said, and I've said many times, any questions and answers, references to my rankings, those will be for patrons only. On the YouTube, we're going more of just kind of general content here and there, what I want to talk about. But if you're asking questions about your team, that will be for patrons only. And it will be that way in 2025 and moving forward. With that said, let's get into my next topic. So next up, the Jets are done with Aaron Rodgers. I get why this is happening because the Jets have a new head coach and went 5-12 last year. Kind of hard to move forward with Rodgers. They will have $49 million of dead cap by cutting Rodgers. They can split it up with a post-June 1 cut. He has a no trade clause, so he won't be traded. But the Jets, again, this is kind of the same thing as Deebo Samuel. Some might say, well, there's a lot of dead cap. They're not going to cut him. But that's not the right way to look at things. The right way to look at things is, what is the deal of cutting versus keeping? Cutting, they save $37 million over the next 2 years. Keeping him would have resulted in a $63 million dead cap hit in 2026 after his contract voids. The Jets need to start over. not pay $37 million more to a quarterback who's already failed. Davante Adams also won't be back because they can save $30 million by cutting him. Obviously, a $38 million cap hit for Davante Adams is not tenable. So he could join Rodgers on a new team. I've heard the Rams or the Chargers looking good as an option for Adams. Let's see if Rodgers did enough to earn a starting spot, maybe on a new team. 63% completion, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 6.7 yards per attempt, 229.2 passing yards a game. He wasn't horrible. It felt like he was better once Adam joined and down the stretch. But Rodgers wasn't good. It's important to note that he wasn't good. He took 40 sacks, didn't deliver anything special. Will a team take a chance on Rodgers for 2025? I'm not sure. I'm leaning toward no, but, I'm not going to count it out. Regardless, I'm not interested in Rodgers as a fantasy asset, a dynasty asset. He's been dead to me for quite a while. Now, what do? I'd buy Garrett Wilson now. I think now is the time to pounce on Wilson. There's uncertainty about the Jets' next quarterback. For now, Davante Adams is still there. He's not actually there. So I would look to buy Garrett Wilson now. This year, 101 catches, 1,104 yards, 7 touchdowns, 154 targets, 5.9 catches, and 64.9 yards a game. He's had 147 or more targets in every season. He's an elite target earner. Some might say that Wilson is a projection, but he's not. Targets are the most earned stat of them all. He's been a top target earner for 3 straight years before even turning 25. Garrett Wilson, is he the most elite receiver in that top level? No, but I think Garrett Wilson is in the next group. And that's very, very good. So we want to be buying Garrett Wilson. I saw a trade for 106. There's not going to be a player at 106 that's anywhere near Garrett Wilson. They're going to pale in comparison. And then this next one, by Garrett Wilson, Xavier Worthy for Drake London and Chuba Hubbard. Honestly, I think if you took the situation out, I think Garrett Wilson is a better player than Drake London, personally. But because Drake London has just been in so much of a better situation and continues to be, I have Drake London with a higher dynasty value. But I think Garrett Wilson is actually better. He's had better target earning throughout his career. With that being said, the difference between Xavier Worthy and Chuba Hubbard is rather large. I much would rather Xavier Worthy. So this trade is more fair, I think, than the previous, but could be something that you could do to acquire Garrett Wilson. Not that I don't like Drake London, one of my favorite players, but I'd still take the Wilson and Worthy side. Now, last one, and this I've just heard talked about a lot. I saw fantasy footballers posted something like this. There were a lot of people talking about this. The 2024 rookie running back class, as we move into the 2025 rookie running back class, 2024 class was outlier level bad. I want to encourage people not to learn the wrong lesson from 2024. A lot of older running backs succeeded. That's good, right? That's good. Yes, it happened. Is that usually what I predict? No. So, a lot of people are saying, well, you got to adjust your process. No, I don't think so. I don't think so because the running back class was horrific to begin with. And maybe I should have seen that and, thought about that a little bit more. Maybe that's something. But Jonathan Brooks would be my clear running back 6 in the 2025 running back class. Now, what am I talking about here? What does this mean? I'm talking about Brooks after ACL tear 1, the Brooks we were drafting. After ACL tear 1, not the Brooks before the ACL tear happened or the Brooks after ACL tear 2. The one that you drafted in the NFL draft. The one that you could have drafted in rookie drafts. He'd be the RB6 in this class. Clearly. Without the injury, he probably would be on the level of RB2 through 5. But with the injury, there are 5 running backs in this class clearly superior to Jonathan Brooks. So that means that we're going to have 5 players clearly better than anyone in 2024. Now, 2024 rookie running backs totaled just 6,291 yards from scrimmage. Again, this fantasy footballer stat, I saw them post. The worst of any class in the dynasty era. They also had the least total touches. So 2024 rookie running backs did not deliver. And what replaces veteran running backs? Rookie running backs. That's the only thing that can replace veteran running backs, right? So they didn't deliver. So what does that mean? If there were no touches for rookie running backs, very few, then the veterans kept those touches. Now, which class do you think was the second worst in this stat? Let's think. Oh, it was 2023, the second worst. Now, that might surprise you because it had Bijan and Gibbs. But actually, in terms of an overall rookie class, the 2023 rookie running back class was the second worst in yards from scrimmage, second worst in touches. So the last 2 years have been outliers in terms of rookie running back production. 2022 was one of the best. 2020, also one of the best. So in terms of rookie year production. So it's not a long-term trend. It's just 2 bad years in a row. 2025, going to be different. I'm telling you this right now. 2025 is one of the best. It's the best running back class I've looked at since I've been doing content by far. So say the last 4 or 5 years. We're going to see. But it's going to be very different. Don't learn the wrong lessons from last year. Don't assume every year is going to be 2024 because it's not. Now, what do? You sell running backs that are safe, that are not safe. Not safe. There are many running backs that people, I'll call them bad dynasty analysts. There are many of those. Most are bad. Will tell you they're safe. They're not safe. A lot of these players are not safe. So who do I think people say is safe that I think is not safe? Okay, that's most running backs, actually. I think there are like, really, if we're being strict, I think Bijan and Gibbs are safe, and that's it. But, it's a little harsh. But some examples. Joe Mixon, not safe. He was not really that efficient. 29 years old. Could they draft a running back? Absolutely. Aaron Jones, when he signs in free agency, people are going to say, well, he was good. Oh, he's safe. Not safe. Not safe at all. Chase Brown, not safe. Not safe. He got the volume. Was he efficient with the volume? Did he do anything special on the volume? Nope. Not at all. Nothing. Nothing special. He was good. Not great. Not safe. Tyrone Tracy, not safe. The Giants, yeah, they have other needs. This is a very deep running back class. Could you get a running back in round 3 or round 4 that's still a lot better than Tyrone Tracy? Absolutely. Not safe. Brian Robinson, not safe. You would think in a normal year, well, Austin Eckler was okay. They could run that back. Not this year. Not this year. There's no guarantee that that's the case. Not safe. So a lot of these running backs are not safe. Don't ignore years and years and years. You look from the Dynasty era from 2014, 2015 on, rookie running backs are highly productive. 2020 was one of the best years. 2022, in some metrics, was the best year for rookie running backs. Don't assume it's all just randomly changed in 2 years. We have years of data showing that rookie running backs are productive. So I would caution people against investing in these safe running backs because they're really not safe. Very, very few of them are safe. So that's just kind of my takeaway of something I think is being discussed in the ether right now. Now, got one Patreon question, so we'll jump into that and then we'll close it out. Is projecting a fool's errand? It worked out for JSN in London, but normally past production is the best predictor. Do we believe in Rome Odunze or Ricky Pearsall? There's a lot going on here. There's 3 different types of projections that we're talking about here. There's maybe more than 3, but in this question, you've mentioned 3 types. There's Drake London, not a projection. London was always good. Always. Not for fantasy, but he was always good. He always had a high target share, always showed up as a breakout, always was good. That's not a projection. That's advanced stats showing a breakout that was not there for fantasy. Not the same thing. Now we get into breakout type 2. JSN and Rome Odunze. They were excellent college prospects. Yes, we liked them. In year 1, they were disappointing. They were not abysmal like QJ, but they were disappointing. They did not give us what we wanted. Even on, reasonable projection, they still didn't even hit that. But since they were such good college prospects, there's still plenty of hope for these players. We saw that JSN hit in year 2. So that's a second type of projection. And then Ricky Pearsall is a completely different projection. Ricky Pearsall was really good near the end of the season on a tiny sample size. As a prospect, terrible. Terrible. I mean, he's not a good prospect. He's an old prospect, very old coming into the NFL. Breakout age is not there. A lot of the production metrics we want, not there. So he's not a good analytical prospect. And then we have the shooting incident. That makes him very difficult to judge. How much did that factor in? So was the production we saw in maybe 3 or 4 games, is that real? Or was that a mirage? So small sample size prediction. It's not enough of a sample size to say too much about Ricky Pearsall. So that's what Ricky Pearsall is. And that is the biggest range of outcomes. It's a small sample size. It could mean nothing. It could mean everything. Another example of a player like this, Cedric Tillman. We saw a really small sample size of him being good in season. Then he got the concussion. We never saw him again. Was that real or was that a mirage? I don't know. So, these are the hardest players to project, the ones where the sample size is really small. But the Deebo trade news makes me believe in Ricky Pearsall a little bit more. But we're going to have to see, is it good or really good? I don't think it's going to be superstar. I'll just say that. But I think we're deciding in how good, and if it's just good in the 49ers room that's very crowded, it probably won't be all that great for fantasy. So he has to be closer to the really good to hit for fantasy. Now, if you like the video, make sure to support the channel by subscribing. And don't forget to hit that notifications bell so you can be notified about all my exciting content as it drops. Of course, if you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon. Dynasty content year-round, rookie content as well. 50% discount at all tiers using the code TylerYT. You can click on the link, patreon.com/fantasy advice to sign up. Every sign up helps support my independent content. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.